Hello, happy Wednesday. I hope wherever you are that you and your loved ones are safe and well, that you're having a good week and a good day. This has been a good week for the most part. I will run through it. I had a good visit with my doctor yesterday. I'll give you more details on that on the blog, or in the blog, I should say. But I have been sifting through Pandora's box, as I mentioned last week, going through old papers, and it has been the weirdest time capsule, time travel trip I could possibly have taken. Because it's like, I have found giant chunks of my life that I have zero or like 2% memory of. I will give you an example. When you graduate from nursing school, you get a pin. And I have two pins, one from my associate degree program and one from my bachelor's program. It's a beautiful ceremony. You light a candle, and it's sort of like it's a rite of passage in becoming a nurse. Well, I found out through sorting through inside of Pandora's box that I not only designed and created from start to finish, I might add, the program for my NYU pinning ceremony, but I also wrote and delivered an address. I did not remember that. And I found the speech first, and I was like, what is this? And I'm reading through it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And it triggered a little bit of a memory, not of delivering that, but of concentrating on my sister, who was a nurse. And then there was a tagline in it, and then that was like, what is that familiar for? And then I found the program, and I was like, that's why it's familiar, because I created the program. I don't remember that. I used to write a lot of short stories. I found some of those. They're not very good, but whatever. I found essays. I found papers I wrote for school at NYU, and that, oh my gosh, a really detailed essay on when I was diagnosed with lupus that had details I did not remember. And it really kind of upset me because I thought it was like reading about somebody else's life. And the reason I'm telling all of you this is because, it was hard not to be upset by that, because it's like, wow, that was me. That me is gone. That me is so far gone, it's not even funny. And I think that's for a number of reasons. Time, 20 plus years of medication that did not help my mind, my memory. The stroke, I don't know. I chalk it up to all of the above and probably other things. But I don't like not remembering that, because I remember being so proud to have gotten into NYU and so proud to be a part of that program that I ended up giving tours to people. I was invited to speak. I was on the ethics committee. I was involved there, which makes sense why I did the program and stuff like that. And I was one of only 7, I counted the program, I didn't know this beforehand, 7 registered nurses who entered the program with our licenses already. And I was so proud of the fact that I had passed the boards and gotten my license. And there were no jobs, which is why I went right back to school, but I was proud to be an NYU student, that I was like really all about the violet. I was really in there. And to not remember that stuff it kind of breaks my heart, because it's like, that was an important part of my life that I have barely any memory of. And the memories that I have are stories that I've told and retold because they're funny or because they're meaningful. And so I think they have more of an imprint on my brain. But the reason I was bringing it up was I also finished listening to Harvey Fierstein, the iconic Broadway writer, actor, just icon in general. I finished listening to his autobiography, I Was Better Last Night, and I have to tell you, it is one of my favorite books that I have ever read in my life, just in general, but probably one of, if not the favorite autobiography I've ever read. It was so honest and raw and heartbreaking and beautiful and hilarious. It was just everything. And I was sad when it ended. And I finished listening to it yesterday. But he mentions being told by somebody, and I cannot remember the reference because I tried to look it up and it's been credited to more than one person. But the line is, look back, but don't stare. And I got it yesterday. I understood why that's important. Because it's so easy to get sucked down that black hole of the past and focusing on the past and what I don't remember from the past and the things I do remember from the past that don't really help me remember my medical situation. I found the films from an MRI that I had on my brain in 2005. Like, what the hell? And this was the days when you used to get the giant thing of films. And I said to my husband, I'm almost tempted to make some sort of an art installation out of all the films I have in the apartment because I know there are others. And he said to make like a stained glass window. We really could. I could probably do the windows for an apartment building with the number of scans I've gotten in my life. But it just, I don't know. The more I pulled out, and my husband and I were laughing because he said he thinks that became our, you need a spot, just stick it in that place, because it was like peeling an onion of my life and like my training manuals when I started work at the hospital I was working at, completely obsolete now, and so I recycle those. And I'm not going to be able to work as a nurse again, so it just kind of broke my heart keeping it. I was like, what's the point of keeping these? I don't need them anymore. My reference letters from professors to get into the Nursing Honor Society, and for jobs. And I just feel like I'm reading about another person. It's like, who is she? She's a different person. My essay of the first AIDS patient I ever worked with. Names changed, of course, but that was such a profound experience. That experience I remember most of because it had such a deep impact on my life and on the way I felt people were treating patients with AIDS and HIV at the time, and this was in the early 90s. And it wasn't good. It was really hard to witness. And so I wrote that paper for a class, and I'm so glad I have it because I lost friends to AIDS, and it just, that's a whole other can of worms. But anyway, I feel like reading these layers upon layers of this person, this Rebecca that I have hardly any memory of. I mean, I was laughing about it with my husband, but it was kind of like, every time I found something else that I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Because this person is not this person. This person can't be this person. Because number one, it's 2 decades ago, or a decade and a half. But also, so much has happened in that time that I could not possibly be the same person. No one is the same person from a week, let alone 20 years and all the medical crap. But I just kept thinking of that line from Harvey Fierstein's book, look back but don't stare, because it's so easy to get stuck in that and keep on staring and really analyzing, why don't I remember? And, I wish I could remember. And I didn't mean, I wasn't going to get upset, but it's like, I want to remember all that. And I know I won't be able to because it's lost to me. And maybe that's okay, because maybe those layers had to be peeled away to make room for new layers, and the new layers are harder to deal with, but maybe it's better that I don't remember, because I can't be that nurse anymore. I can't be that enthusiastic, young, student who was ready to take on the establishment and make people treat AIDS patients better and be a mother baby. I was going to be a midwife. I mean, I had so many dreams of what I wanted to do. And I'm glad I wrote back then. And part of me was thinking, boy, I wish I wrote now. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, I do write now. I don't write like that, but I write big things once a week. And so I haven't given up writing. And I was reading these papers and I was like, wow, that was a good paper. I would have been proud to present that today somewhere. And I found the Nursing 94 journal that I was published in, and I'm very proud of that, about care of the lupus patient, because that was right after I had been diagnosed with lupus. And I really thought, wow, this is the worst health crisis I'll face. Which just makes me laugh, because it's like, wow, this is the hardest thing I'll deal with. Hold on, sweetheart. That's what I wanted to say, like, whoa. Just wait a couple of years. That theory is going to go, woo, out the window. I don't know. Look back, but don't stare. I think that's very good advice. We all have memories. We all have the stories that stay with us forever, because they're the stories we retell, and the stories our families retell, and funny things or sad things and events we all witnessed, or events only we were there for, and we remember them because we've repeated them and really locked them in. Maybe not exactly as they happened, but as close to exact as we can. And then there's a lot that gets lost just because it's not retold, or things happen and you just lose that. And I don't know. Thinking about that line, though, and he repeated it at the end of the book, and I thought, he's right. Look back, but don't stare. Don't get caught in that rabbit hole, because if I really stay there and don't look at it as a reconstructing my medical history, which my husband said, don't get rid of things if it helps you remember and retell these stories, because that's critically important. And so I'm finding, like, test results and, oh dear God, there's so much. And we didn't go through all of these things years and years ago, because for most of those years we were dealing with crisis after crisis and procedure after procedure, and I was in so much more pain, and it was just an uncontrolled, not great situation. And so we left those things to deal with at another date. And now that other date has come, and it's like, we don't need all this stuff anymore. But it does help me, to remember these things that happened, and not all the details, because that's all gone. But, I sent the essay that I did for the pinning ceremony to my sister, because I mentioned her, and I wish I remembered more of it. She was there. I wish, I feel like I need to interview the people who were with me, because it's like, what happened that day? I don't know. And maybe they don't remember either. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But yeah, I think that's good advice. Look back, but don't stare. It's okay to look back, but don't get sucked so far down. Like in my case, it just kind of upset me that I don't remember these big, important moments of my life. I remember other big, important moments of my life, but I don't remember others. And being at NYU, being a part of that environment and with those teachers and the other students, it felt like such a big deal, because it was a big deal to get into NYU. That was like never gonna happen. I'm not good enough for that. And to get in, it felt like, whoa, I got in, and I did well there. And I remember some things. I remember some of my professors and the experiences I had. Like, I remember my chemistry professor, and I laugh about this with my family, because I was so bad in chemistry, and this poor man tutored me, he helped me study, he helped me work through the labs. I mean, I was in his office the whole semester, and then I found out that I had to take the next level of chemistry, and when he saw me sitting in the front row, his face, it like slipped a little bit, and then he went, hi! That I remember, because that struck me so funny, that he was like, oh no, not her. And it was like, she's back. And so that kind of stuff I remember. I remember profound teaching experiences that I had, in different locations with my professors, that I never would have had in my life. And I don't know. Look back, but don't stare, because otherwise, you'll either get like I was sucked down by the, wow, you don't even remember your life of it. Or, you know, you just drive yourself nuts trying to remember things. And I will switch gears now. In the vein of remembering things, I have not found the crimped hair, green and black plaid suit with the giant shoulder pads pictures that I really want to find. So family, if you've got them, let me know. But I found my high school, which I may have shown you guys, my high school graduation picture, which, let me tell you something. I got up like 2 hours early that morning to curl and hairspray my hair. You could have moved that whole thing in like one clip. The whole thing would have moved. Look, like, I don't know what's going on with my eyebrows there. What the heck was I doing with my eyebrows? And like, they wouldn't let us smile in every picture. So that was like, wow, I've learned a lot. I'm going off to college now. But I thought I love that picture because it's so funny. And this picture, big glasses. Another reason, here's an example of why Becky should not have bangs ever again. I got my first real camera and I was so happy and my glasses were so gigantic. But I have my hair all pinned up in that. And those were, I think this might have been in the era of the crimping and the side pony, half up, half down situation. But I'm guessing that must have been Christmas 88, 89. So I'm going to have to go through the family albums and, you know, dig around for that. But anyway, this has gone on way too long. I hope wherever you are that you have a low pain, no pain, low aggravation, no aggravation kind of a day, kind of a week, kind of a weekend to come. That's what we hope for. That's what we deserve. And that is what I wish for each and every one of you. Look back, but don't stare. Know where you came from, but focus on the now and going forward. Because sometimes trying to dig back too far can be painful, or unhelpful. And so I hope you have a good rest of the evening, and I will see you on Friday via the blog. Take care. Be well. Bye.